My God, can you believe it? The two enormous feet in the master's hands are actually objects that everyone uses daily. Without them, we might feel uncomfortable all day long. The materials to make its feet are very simple, just this earth piled up in front of us. It's a local outdoor workshop specialized in the production of these objects. First, the master puts the clay into a large mixer, adds rainwater, and mixes to obtain a slurry. The mud is then sent through pipes to a mud basin to be ready for use. Thus, the materials are ready, and the actual production can begin. The master begins by sealing the holes at the bottom of the mold with mud. He stirs the mud in the basin to make it homogeneous. Then he filters the clay through a sieve and pours it into plastic buckets before pouring it into the molds. One standing bucket can only fill 2 molds, so the master must repeat this process several times. To finish, the batter must rest for a moment to gradually solidify on the surface of the mold, forming a standing layer. The excess resin is eliminated through the holes at the bottom, thus forming a resin shape inside the mold. The master then manually enlarged the tip holes to increase their diameter, thus completing half of the structure. These produced seedlings are set aside to allow the water to evaporate. Then the master begins to make the other half. The square molds are used to make the other half. They seal the holes on the sides of the mold, then pour the slip from the top, removing the excess slip. Once the mud is completely adhered in layers, he can turn the mold. After flipping the mold, he opens it, and the other half of the structure is also formed. However, this is only a rough draft. Before combining the two halves, they need to be refined to make them smoother and more even. Thus, this object is a crouched service device, specially designed for the natural cycle of the boneless body. After finishing refining them, the master dips the previously made half in the mud and combines it with the other half to form a complete structure. Thus, the main structure is completed. Next, it needs to be dried, shaped, polished, a layer of glaze applied, and finally fired. Although most residents still prefer the traditional online method, this workshop actively promotes this cleaner and more hygienic solution. Thanks to their robust, durable, and economical products, they are gradually changing the residents' way of life. So the question arises, do you prefer to use this object by squatting or sitting?